Hello and welcome to my video for the third week of DEMIGODATHON, in which I'm going to be talking about the Titan's Curse. So I am on a very quick turnaround because I'm trying my best to catch up on DEMIGODATHON and stop posting my videos so late. So I'm gonna try to speed through this. I do have quite a few things that I want to talk about, but I'm just gonna try to speed through this so I can edit it quickly and upload it and finally be back on schedule. So I just finished the Titan's Curse a couple of hours ago, and as can be expected of any Percy Jackson book, this book was quite a ride. The Titan's Curse, for some reason, has always been my second to last favorite of the series. I love the entire series. I think that every book is very important, but this book and The Sea of Monsters have always been at the bottom of my list of favorites in the series. However, I think this time I will have to say that this is definitely my least favorite in the series. That is not to say that I dislike this book in the least. I had such a good time reading it, and even though it does take me a lot longer to get through than some of the other books, even though it's also one of the shortest, I just think that so many amazing things happened in this book, and yeah, let's just talk through them. So I would kind of describe this book in comparison to the Harry Potter series as the Goblet of Fire of the Percy Jackson series, because in the Goblet of Fire we see our first real death of a person that was a very important character to our main protagonist. That kind of sets up the turn of the series, and where the series starts to get a lot darker. We start to get a lot more deeper and darker themes, and it's kind of just when shit really hits the fan and our characters realize this is the reality that they're living in. In this book, we don't just get one on-page death that really shakes us up. We get two. It's very evident by the end of this book that the characters have fully realized the depth of their situation and the seriousness of their situation. And in this book, the mystery of who the prophecy is about is finally revealed. That it is definitely about Percy Jackson. So we kind of just get that overall turn towards the dark side of things. Everything as a whole just starts to feel like it has a bit more weight to it. Now, we have a lot of character introductions in this book. We have Thalia. I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I'm just gonna say Thalia. Let me know how you pronounce her name in the comments. We have Thalia, we have Bianca, and we have Nico, who are all very important characters in this series. I really love seeing Thalia and Percy's character interactions throughout the book because they're just so similar. And Annabeth warned Percy before Thalia even came back that Percy reminded her so much of Thalia because of how hard-headed they were and how headstrong they both were. And she literally told him, I think in The Sea of Monsters, she was like, you and Thalia would have either been best friends or y'all would have killed each other. We kind of see both of the sides of the spectrum in this book, and it's really hilarious. So like I said, we also get Bianca and Nico in this book, and this is where some of my mild problems with this book come to. Bianca as a character, I don't love her. I'm not in love with her in the slightest. But upon this reread, I really do understand where she was coming from with her decision to join the Hunters and kind of abandon Nico. So there's this part on page 165 where Percy's asking Bianca, so you've been raising Nico pretty much all your life, just the two of you? And she nods and she says, that's why I wanted to join the Hunters so bad. I mean, I know it's selfish, but I wanted my own life and friends. I love Nico, don't get me wrong. I just needed to find out what it would be like not to be a big sister 24 hours of the day. I get that. I really do. And my problem with her does not really come through so much this time around in this book. But my problem with her stems from what happens in Battle of the Labyrinth, which I will get into next week when I read that book. But I definitely have less of a problem with her character in this book this time around. So I'm gonna let her live for now. However, I do still have a problem with something that happened with her. Bianca's death has always rubbed me the wrong way. The way that it's done is so confusing and it's so unclear, and it just does not seem like the situation for our first real character death to be happening in. I mean, Percy doesn't even know for sure in the end of the book when he's talking to Nico and telling Nico that his sister is not with them anymore. He literally tells Nico like, well, she could still be alive, and Nico's like, no, I fucking saw her in the underworld. She's dead. That whole situation is so strange to me. And like, I don't have a problem with Nico being the one to confirm that she's dead because he saw her in the underworld. Like, that's kind of his way of coming out as the son of Hades. But her death, like, just by itself is just, I've never liked that scene. I really just have a problem with that scene. It's just so dumb. Like, it's a dumb way to die, and it was not a good way to go out. And I just feel like she was done dirty. Like, even though I don't love her as a character, I really feel like she was done dirty. Also, I just feel so bad for Nico. Oh my god, Nico, my baby. Nico is my child, and I just feel so awful for him, and I just know what he has like coming up against him in the future of this universe, and I just feel so bad for him. Now, a death that was done right in this book was Miss Zoe Nightshade. Rest in paradise. I love Zoe. I've always loved Zoe. I want to play her in the Disney adaptation of Percy Jackson. Disney, let me know. Her death is one of the most beautiful, cinematic, poetic, amazing things to happen in literature. I mean, it's so sad, it's so heartbreaking, but it's so beautiful. It's so beautifully done. And I just applaud Rick for that because it was just so gorgeous, and it just really sets the scene and it sets the tone for the entire rest of the series. Another thing that I have here to discuss is how I love that literally everything that's introduced in the story gets brought back later, and we see that everything serves a purpose in the end. So what I mean by that is the Lotus Hotel. We see Percy, Annabeth, and Grover go to the Lotus Hotel and Casino in the first book in the series. That really sets up the scene when Bianca and Nico come back and the rest of the cast realizes that they were trapped in the Lotus Hotel for like 70 years or something. I just love that that was a thing that we were introduced to, and then it's brought back as such a major plot point that we are kind of in on. We are completely understanding once we start to see the clues line up, the information that they were trapped there. Like, we know exactly what that means for them, and it's just a testament to how detailed the plotting was for this story. Another thing is Miss Rachel Elizabeth Dare. Her introduction in the Hoover Dam, I have a dam problem chapter, which is the best chapter in literature, period. I love her subtle introduction in here, and I love how she's brought back almost immediately in the next book, and she plays such an important role. But I just love the little cameos and the little details that are thrown here and there, and just everything was just plotted out to perfection. All of the details are just lined up. Rick is a genius, and I love him. Also, in this book, there was like a little mention of the labyrinth, and how amazing is that? Like, we just get these little clues to what's to come, and it's just the most entertaining thing to notice while you're reading a series. Overall, I just really, really love and appreciate the darker turn that this book takes, and the darker, more serious direction that it goes in with the deaths and everything that's happening, with Annabeth and Percy literally having to hold the sky and getting their matching gray streaks in their hair, and they're so cute. But also like Thalia like literally kicks Luke off a fucking cliff and they see him crumbled at the bottom of the cliff. And also we get a little bit of like dark Percy, which we've seen snippets throughout this entire series that Percy absolutely has a darker side. Like he is not just, you know, this happy-go-lucky kid. Like he has super dark thoughts sometimes, and it is so interesting to me, and I love it when he has those darker thoughts because it just gives his character so much complexity. Those are just the moments that you really realize that Percy isn't just like a stand-in character for whoever's reading it, not just a character that is reacting to the things happening around him. He is a fully fleshed out character that is a balance of good and bad. So the part in particular that I'm talking about where Percy's just having these really dark thoughts and it's very interesting to me is on page 283, and Annabeth is telling Percy that she knows in her heart that Luke is not dead, even though they saw him like fall off of that cliff because Thalia kicked his ass off that cliff. She's telling him like he's not dead, and like, I know you don't believe me, but he's not dead. And Percy's inner dialogue says, I didn't feel like arguing, though it made me mad. How could she still have any feelings for that creep? How could she possibly make excuses for him? He deserved that fall. He deserved, okay, I'll say it. He deserved to die. Unlike Bianca, unlike Zoe, Luke couldn't be alive. It wouldn't be fair. And I read that, I was like, oh my god, like I know Percy has it in him, but he legit flat out says like he wishes Luke were dead. He would be happy if Luke was dead because he deserves it. And I'm like, damn. But it also goes to show his development at the end of the series when Luke actually dies. This character in this series is just so good and so interesting. I don't know, just small moments like that just makes it all so much more enjoyable because of the complexities to these characters. Also, I'm just gonna mention it again, the fact that they held the sky on their shoulders, Percy and Annabeth. Who is doing it like them? Please tell in the comments below, tell me who is doing it like them, because I guarantee you no one is. Anyways, that was my short little review on the Titan's Curse. I really didn't have too much to say about it, but it was a very, very good book. It's just a little slower than the other ones. It's not my favorite in general, but I really still did enjoy it, and I enjoyed noticing different things every single time that I reread it. So yes, I'm going to start Battle of the Labyrinth tonight, and I'm so freaking excited because Battle of the Labyrinth is my personal favorite in the series. However, I'm wondering, in a post-Avengers Endgame world, will my favorite change to The Last Olympian? Because I know that that is one of my favorite conclusions to a series in existence ever, period. So I'm wondering, like, will the epicness of that novel overtake my love for Battle of the Labyrinth? I'm wondering, but as of right now, I don't think so, just because I love Battle of the Labyrinth so much. I'm gonna have so much to say next week, like, get ready. Thank you for tuning in for week 3 of Demigodathon. If watching these videos is making you want to read or reread Percy Jackson, we have 2 full weeks left. So please join us. Also, I'm live tweeting these books on Twitter with like pretty funny memes. So go follow me on Twitter. And also I just made a bookstagram. I'm trying not to be as active on Twitter this year as I have been in the past because I've been on Twitter for like 10 years. So I'm gonna be taking more breaks from Twitter this year, and I made a bookstagram just so I could keep in touch with everyone when I do take Twitter hiatuses. So go follow me on my bookstagram. It'll be in the description. All of my links are there. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.